have the students from BS or Cheryl. Will those students please stand up? We are honored to have you here so that you can listen to the candidates personally. I would also like to thank the Temple Beth-El Men's Club for putting on this breakfast, and I think this might be a record. This might be a record of the number of people that we've had here, and I think they've done a great job serving out the food. So one of the things that I'm noted for is I'm a little anal when it comes to time. So I have my assistant here with her bell, and I just want to warn the candidates that when you have 1 minute left in each session, you will hear a bell ring. When your time runs out, you will hear the bell ring again, and then I will come up and stop you mid-session. This will go orderly, just like it goes in the Clerk's court. We move everything right along and we get things going. So, I would like to first introduce the candidates for Oneida County Clerk, and the first person is Dave Gordon. Okay?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. What a great turnout. It's a great thing when people are involved in the process, the political process, the electorate process. It's important to our country. Our country was founded on freedom. It was founded on democracy. And to see all of you folks here today, it means a lot to me, and I'm sure the other candidates as well, because it speaks volumes. So just a little background information about who I am. I was raised in New Hartford. I currently live in South Utica with my fiance and our 6-month-old daughter. Her name is Genevieve. She really is the light of our lives, and you really don't understand life until you have a child, and I'm sure many of you can attest to that it's really an awakening moment. But I'm a former Oneida County legislator, one-term legislator from New Hartford. When we reduced the size of the board, my seat was devoured, so to speak, by 5 other districts. But I've always aspired to be a part of the process. I think it's important to be somebody in the community that wants to do things. I serve on numerous committees, boards, a lot of the American Heart Run and Walk. I'm the director for the expo there. I've worked on the building committee for several years. I've been involved in organizations out in Rome. I'm a member of the Rome Lions Club. I'm a member of the New Hartford Masons Lodge. So I try to be as active in the community as I can. And this year, I took a good hard look at what was going on in the clerk's office. As a person, I own an insurance agency. That's what I do for a living. And many of my customers were coming to my office, and they were just so distraught about the process that's been unfolding for many, many years at the Department of Motor Vehicles. And you could tell that it consumed so much of their time away from their family, time away from work, time from their day off, to do a service that is so simplistic in other counties, but so complicated here in Oneida County. So before I decided to run, I wanted to see really what was going on in the clerk's office, hear from some of the employees, and look at the numbers. And the fact is that our DMV has run a $1.2 million deficit over the last 4 years. That's an atrocity. And my opponent will say that she has been able to create a positive revenue stream on the other side of the clerk's office. Well, from a business standpoint, I don't believe in taking good money and throwing it after bad. I believe that we have great opportunity in this county to provide great services, but we have to be fiscally responsible. We have to find ways to work within our means. But more importantly than that, we have to treat people like people and not like numbers. And many, many people are very, very overwhelmed with what's going on now. With the new regulations in the state, with the new licensing, where you have to have a real ID or an enhanced ID to enter a federal building or fly on a plane. And so the DMV lines are completely clogged up. We've got a big deficit. So my goal is to provide great customer service to our people, reduce that deficit, creating a positive revenue stream, and really working for the people and setting a gold standard for customer service in our clerk's office and making the clerk's office transparent so that when people do their FOIL requests, their Freedom of Information requests, or when they come in to get or go online to print a mortgage tax cover sheet, that they can do that from the comfort of their home. Because transparency, integrity, accountability, and treating people with respect is what's important to me. And that's what I'll do as your next county clerk. Thank you.
Now call upon DePerno.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. It's wonderful to see a lot of friends. I have been here for a few years, and it's great to see all of you. I'm DePerno, and I'm your Oneida County Clerk. I've been the county clerk for the past 12 years, and I'm running for my 4th term. I have the endorsements of the Democrat, Conservative, and Independent Party. Oneida County, just like all other counties across New York State, is trying to protect our citizens against the possibility of identity theft. Through my experience of working in the clerk's office prior to election, I knew that the land records contained personal information and they were out on the World Wide Web. There is nothing in state statute that requires the land documents to be online, so I shut the site down. I now offer free access to the Verified Land Index, which dates back to 1974, to our citizens, but the documents are not available. Until software is available to redact the personal information on these documents, I will not put them online. My opponent talks of putting the mortgage tax sheets up online. Unfortunately, through his ignorance, there is no such document available to be put online. My opponent is running on is going to fix the DMV. Oneida County DMV is an agent of the state DMV. They dictate all the policies and procedures that must be followed. I saw that the hours of operation were not always feasible for our working public, so I changed the hours to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 to 4, Tuesday to Thursday, 10 to 6. I instituted the 321 Main Street campaign, educating our taxpayers that if they want their tax dollars to stay local, either mail in or come into 321 Main Street. Most of us were unaware that unless you use your local DMV, state of New York keeps the majority of the revenue. My opponent loves to talk about revenue and compare Oneida County to Madison County, and that we're running a deficit. Madison County has one budget that includes DMV, passports, registrar's office, so forth. Oneida County has 3 separate budgets, so I combined them together, just like Madison County. In 2016, Madison County showed a revenue of $368,347. That's outstanding. Oneida County showed a revenue of $505,056. Let's go to 2018. My opponent talks of how the Madison County Clerk's Office, which includes DMV, is bringing in a revenue of $591,492. In comparison, we are projected to bring in a revenue this year of $645,522 for our taxpayers and to keep your taxes low. As I said before, my opponent told me he was a prior county legislator, but he has no clue on how to interpret a budget. He claims he's going to fix the DMV, but gets no details of his plan. Just comes up with ideas that have already been tried before and listens to complaints from 2 disgruntled employees at the wrong office for campaign ideas. An administrator he is not. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just to respond to some of those accusations that were made, we've detailed a very outlined agenda on how to fix the DMV. 62 counties in New York, 59 counties do not use a numerical system known as the Q-matic system. The Q-matic system is an awful system in which you make people wait in line to receive a ticket, to then wait in line for a longer extended period of time for their number to be called. Oftentimes their number isn't even called. They have to go up and request that their number be called. 2 disgruntled employees, that's false. The entire office of the Rome DMV supports my campaign and has been out working diligently to ensure the success of my candidacy, because they know they're not getting the supplies, they're not getting the support. The county clerk visits the Rome DMV 2 to 3 times a year, which is deplorable. It's ridiculous. Recently, she just talked about how she supports the 321 Main Street campaign, which is an initiative where you spend money, you spend good money, the revenue side of the clerk's office, again, to promote a process that does not work. Madison County, yes, they have one budget. However, on their DMV side, just like Herkimer County, they're showing a positive revenue stream. This year, our DMV is slated for a $333,000 deficit, eating up what is supposed to already be a surplus from the other side of the clerk's office. We've come out with many, many initiatives to fix the DMV, including again, eliminating the pneumatic system, getting more hands on deck where it's needed, and looking at those hours. For the DMV to open at 10 o'clock in the morning is ridiculous. By 9 o'clock in the morning, they're all out at Wamsville or they're out at Herkimer, and they're spending their money there, which is losing money here in Oneida County. So we have ways to fix this. I will do that, and we will promote more and better morale in the clerk's office. Thank you.
I have to agree with my opponent as far as the pneumatic system goes. Yes, we are having problems with it, and we have worked on submitting after the first of the year a new RFP to get a different system. The system is through the state of New York. Yes, the numbers are sometimes not called. Yes, we have had issues, but we are going to rectify it. As far as changing the hours, I did that because of our work in public. I got complaints from people that they weren't able to get the time off from work between 9 and 4:30. Being open 2 days a week until 6 and starting at 10 was something I had to negotiate through the union so as not to have to waste the extra money to pay my employees overtime. Anything beside the 7-hour workday is overtime paid for my employees. He talks about the revenue. Well, he keeps telling everyone how much Madison County is bringing in, the $591,492. That is the whole budget. It doesn't tell you in the budget how much comes out for DMV and how much is the rest of the clerk's office. Like I said, I make money for Oneida County. We're making more and more every day, and as of right now, our DMV this year is projected to be over $100,000 as compared to last year. So we're making more money. The 321 campaign is to encourage everyone to come in so that they know that they have to bring their business to your local DMV so the county retains the money to keep your tax dollars low. Thank you.
We're now going to hear from the candidates for the 101st Assembly District. The first candidate is Brian Miller.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to express my sincere and heartfelt condolences to the recent tragedy in Pittsburgh. I pray for the victims, their families, the Jewish community, and the United States of America. These acts of hate need to stop. Well, I'm Brian Miller. I live in Red Hill Road in New Hartford. I'm the current Assemblyman in the 101st District. Quick background on myself. I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm a former town supervisor. I'm a former county legislator. And I'm current assembly member from the 101st District. And I'm a former apple grower. It's apple season, and Thanksgiving is one of the biggest times for apples. I'm married. I have a 14-year-old at home who just had surgery on his knee. He broke his kneecap, so Friday was a day off without campaigning, but we spent a lot of time, in the hospital and recovered. One of the biggest issues in the 101st, of course, right now is the water in Ilion. It's something we've been working with the Ilion residents on. They got a water situation down there that, we can't direct them on which way to go, but we're there to help once they decide. The 101st district goes from New Hartford to Orange County. And everybody thinks that the district's a very diverse district, but it's not. Okay, everybody in the 101st district, they want 4 things. They want jobs, they want good roads, they want good public safety, they want good schools. If we break it down in those 4 things, we can do things about those. I've done my job. Like I said, I'm an engineer. One thing we do a root cause analysis and corrective action plan. There. Okay, the district goes from here to Orange County. Over the last 2 years, I've put 75,000 miles on my car. I bought my car the day after election. I drive the district. The district is a crazy district. It has 25 towns and 7 counties. If you understand the district and you work the district like I do, you'll be in the car and you'll be moving. Something else we've done in this district is we put together the Mohawk Valley 9. And what this is a bipartisan group of legislators from the Senate and the Assembly. We try to meet once a month, and we talk about Mohawk Valley issues. Okay, nonpartisan issues that affect everyone here. Let me see if I can remember all the legislators on there. There's Joe Ripple, there's Anthony Brindisi, there's Senator Valesky, Assemblyman McGee, Seward, Tedesco, myself, Langton Bush, and Assemblyman Butler. What we try to do is we try to look at the issues here and see if we can do things with them. Like I said, we work hard. I'm one of the few assemblymen that answers the phone in the district office. If staff is at lunch or whatever, I pick the phone up, Assemblyman Miller, and I call people back. That's one of the biggest things. I've been a legislator and I've been a town supervisor, so I know what it is to talk to people and try to find out what goes on. Again, thank you, and looking forward to any questions.
And McEvoy, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Chad McEvoy, running for the 101st Assembly District. Thank you so much for having me here. This is a great event. So I'm from Westford, a small, very rural dairy farming town in Oneida County, just a little bit south of here. I'm a software development project manager and data analyst, and I've done the majority of my career working for large national nonprofits like the American Red Cross and Heifer International, things like that. And doing a lot of database development and data analysis. And that, coupled with my master's degree in public policy from Johns Hopkins, I think sets me up to do what I want to do, what I imagine government should do, which is have intelligent, hardworking people in there, listening to people, thinking about things, and doing data-driven policy analysis that informs laws that create the best good for the most number of people. So I've been working really hard at this campaign along with my campaign staff and my volunteers, and I hope that's emblematic of not just what it takes to win in a district where you're massively outnumbered due to gerrymandering that keeps incumbents ensconced in their positions, but also because it shows the sort of legislator and representative I want to be. We've sent 20,000 plus or minus handwritten postcards to people throughout the district. We've made thousands of phone calls. I've personally knocked on, I think, 1,000 doors. I had hundreds and hundreds of one-on-one, person-to-person human conversations with people of all political parties, which is, is incredibly important right now as we try to talk to people face-to-face and bring down the temperature in our very toxic political climate that's driving everyone crazy, as you know. We've done so much. I've been giving out my cell phone on live talk radio, conservative talk radio, and sending it in postcards to people and trying to have as many of those conversations as possible. And I've been trying to highlight through this action, win or lose, the issues of these areas. I wrote an op-ed in the New York Times that was in a couple weeks ago talking about New Hartford and Ilion and Ellenville and all these places, disparate places in the district that are suffering because of the very causes of gerrymandering, which weaken our political power and are part of why we continue to get ignored in upstate New York, from the rural areas to the suburbs to the small towns. I was further on BBC talking about Otsego County and Delaware County and our issues, and I've been in the Capitol Press Room and a bunch of the local papers highlighting these issues. So literally, I hope we'll get some attention for the problems that plague our area. And quite honestly, here's the deal. We keep electing well-meaning Republicans up here, and that's fine. They're doing their best. But the truth is the Assembly is dominated by city Democrats. This is why we're sort of flapping in the wind and continually getting ignored, in my opinion. We can do more by working with the majority in the Assembly. It's a permanent supermajority as far as I can see. So if we want to get in the room where we get the money and the power to get the attention that we need for things like the fact that my town doesn't even have basic broadband internet service available. Like, that's how we do it. We get in there by working with the majority, having smart, sensible policies, and having someone who's got a rural, upstate background who can talk sense to the city Democrats that seem to keep ignoring us. Of course they do. They've got city issues on their mind. That's their job. But we need to get in the room where those decisions are being made. And next year, large pieces of legislation could pass. If the Democrats take control of the state Senate, there's going to be important legislation, whether you like it or not, that's very likely going to go through. We need to have some upstate people who can talk to the Democrats who are going to be writing those laws in the Assembly and push through laws that will reflect our needs. So, I think we can do better, and it requires working really hard. It requires talking human to human as much as possible. And I just real quick, if I have a second, we met, we were talking to people, Republicans, conservatives, unaffiliated, and I get out there and people are sometimes quaking with rage from the toxic news environment that we're all experiencing. Everyone is crazy. I'm mad at the very idea. I'll wrap it up in the next time. Thank you.
Have ballerinas, that's yeah.
When we talk about the district was formed, it's formed every census, and that's how it's realigned. The Democrat majority determines all the districts, so that's, the Democrats have all the power in how the districts are formed. Let's talk a little bit about, just want to talk a little bit about one thing that's very important to me that I left off, was job creation. One of the things that I work on extensively is the alternative path to graduation. We basically lost our trained workforce in upstate New York. And that's one of the most important things to me. We need an alternate route to graduation. We need tradesmen out there. We're trying to attract these semiconductor industries here in other industries, but we need to have people who can fill the slots, fill the technical slots in the way they go. We've got a minute left. When we talk about working on both sides of the aisle, it's very important that we have Republican Assembly people in a Assembly that we are in the super minority. But what we do is we stand up, we debate every bill on the floor that needs debating, and we ask all the questions to try to make sure that these bills are not just moved out without debate and thought. Another thing I'd like to talk about is the importance of keeping the Senate in the majority, the Republican majority. We need the Senate there, so it's not just a Democrat-held Assembly, the Democrat-held Senate, and possibly a Democrat government. We need that debate from both sides, the conservatives. I've been out on the campaign trail talking to people of all political parties and having some tough face-to-face conversations. And I tell you, people are upset in general, especially if they're getting a lot of these congressional ads on their cable news. But, I was speaking with this woman, and she comes out, she's just angry at the very fact that I'm a Democrat on her doorstep, and she's literally physically quaking. And she's,
furious about the caravan is coming to kill us all, and all this sort of thing. We sat there and for 10, 15 minutes having a conversation where I tried to lower the temperature of the conversation, and by the end, she's not going to vote for me, but she says, you seem like a very nice person. And I feel like that is happening, that is the sort of thing that we need to do everywhere in all of our lives when talking to people who disagree with us. We need to take the heat of the conversation, lower it, talk human to human, and I hope to be that sort of representative if and when I'm elected, be the sort of person who will listen to anyone. And that is a requirement of a Democrat running for this seat, because this seat is very much gerrymandered to the Republicans' benefit, and that is just how it is. So human conversations, one-on-one, in all of our lives, people who we most disagree with are incredibly important. Thank you very much.
Candidates for the 119th Assembly District, Marianne Buttonschon is first.
Good morning. Thank you for hosting this forum. And it is commendable that this is the 95th year that this has been done, that you invite civic leaders to your temple. So I sincerely appreciate that. I too express my condolences to you, as well as so many that have been faced with recent tragedies throughout this country. I am running for the 119th Assembly District seat because I know that my experience in education will provide the background and knowledge to represent and support this community so that I can promote and pursue excellence that we see. We live in an outstanding community, wonderful people, wonderful assets, and those need to be looked at in detail to ensure that we work together to support that. I am a lifelong resident of Mohawk Valley, and I've always been involved in my community, and I will continue to do so if I'm so elected. I serve on many nonprofit boards, have volunteered throughout my years to ensure that I support those that are in need. I grew up in Whitesboro, New York, and I currently live in Marcy for the last 34 years with my husband, Don, where we've raised our 3 children, and we own the Buttonschon tree farm. I completed my education locally at the undergraduate level at Mohawk Valley Community College, SUNY IT at that time, and then moved on for my graduate work at SUNY Binghamton and my doctorate work at Northeastern University. I consider myself a lifelong learner and will maintain that approach in the Assembly. Professionally, I've been in education for a little over 30 years. I started as a substitute teacher in many local school districts in this area. And then I continued on as a part-time faculty member for about a decade at Mohawk Valley Community College before I became a full-time faculty member and am currently an administrator. And I hold the title of Dean of the Institute of Emergency Preparedness and Public Service. This role and previous administrative roles have provided me with the opportunity to create numerous partnerships and to work with the wonderful educations, organizations, and agencies that exist within this area, as well as throughout the state and many within the country. My professional, community outreach, educational progression has afforded me to witness and engage in practical application of many of the plans that I've had the opportunity to institute and initiate with my fellow colleagues, with fellow leaders within the community, and with fellow nonprofit organizations. The 3 priorities that I've had within my platform over the last 15 months remain. First and foremost is to ensure that someone feels safe. Safe within their home, safe within the community, and safe within our overall environment itself, our workplaces. Education and training is the second priority that I have discussed, and the importance with the third, the linkage to economic development and job creation. If we can ensure that we provide economic development within our community, we have to have those individuals that are educated or trained to fill those positions. I look forward to working with you in the approximate 130,000 and beyond in the 119th Assembly District in pursuit of quality of life that we all deserve. Thank you again for this time, and thank you for the willingness to host us. Thank you.
Let's start off by thanking everybody for coming out and engaging in politics. I know we're all probably pretty sick of the commercials and the bantering back and forth. It's nice to see so many engaged people and what's going on in the community. My name is Bova Jr. I'm on the 119th State Assembly seat. I have 12 years experience in healthcare as a surgical assistant and a technologist. My wife, Tracy, is a family nurse practitioner specializing in pediatrics. When I started this, I had two goals in mind. I wanted to be the people's choice, and if I was their choice, I wanted to be their voice in Albany. But it's very important that you understand where I'm coming from when I make that statement, the people's choice. You're looking at two candidates from two very different backgrounds. If you don't like either one of us, write somebody in. Now, I know I'm supposed to be campaigning for you to vote for me, but at the end of the day, I hear too many times out there, well, I voted for the lesser of the two evils. And that's the problem we're in. Everybody's voting for the lesser evil. You need somebody who's going to represent you, that's going to carry your values. Now, to achieve the people's choice or the people's voice in Albany, I had to go out and meet a lot of people. Myself, actually Dave Gordon, who's running on the Republican ticket, we go out every day, rain or shine, 90 degrees, we're out knocking on doors. Yesterday in the rain, cold, I think it was snowing a little bit, we're knocking on doors. It's very important that I hear your concerns. What do you want to see? What changes do you need? Then I take that information, and that's how I base my platform. So many politicians come up here and just mention what they observe. It's not about me. It's about me being your representative and bringing your voice to Albany and your concerns to Albany. If you've watched my campaign at all, I take strong stances on things. One of the big ones that the first press conference I did was the downtown hospital. I formed that decision not because of my healthcare experience. That had nothing to do with it. That came from you folks and what you told me you wanted. So that's why I came out and took a stance on it. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize one of the surgeons in this room who had taught me so very much. I won't mention his name. I don't want to embarrass him. But he taught me, the short time we worked together, that perfection is the standard in healthcare. Without demanding perfection in healthcare, we came through the very best for our patients. I don't know if you remember saying that to me, but you did. And it's always resonated. This was 12 years ago when I first started. So I've always carried that with me. One of the other big issues I'm hearing at the doors is how disengaged people are, disenchanted. They feel like their voice doesn't matter. They feel like we're into the family and friends program, and seeing people just kind of moving chairs around. So I thought long and hard about how can I get people re-engaged in what we're doing in Albany and truly be their voice. And I came up with the voter's voice system. This is a system where you'll be able to log in or call in, see and hear or see everything that I'm voting on in the assembly and send them out. Tell me, this is what I want, this is what I like, this isn't what I like. You're gonna essentially help guide me in Albany. Ultimately, the decision's on me to make and to fight for, but you're gonna have to say, you're gonna get your government back. Because that's why government's here, for the people. The last big talk I had was mental health. I did a press conference on that. And I think it's very important that we bring this up. This isn't a politically sexy topic, if you will, because it's not an easy fix. But I got to give our county executive a lot of credit on this, because he made a stance on it and actually put it in the county budget. And I think it's very important what he's talking about, and I want to capitalize on that. Mental health is a big issue, and it's a direct correlation with the opioid crisis we're having right here. I've talked to the professionals in the field who are seeing patients every single day. I don't talk to boards, I don't talk to a lot of community boards, so to speak. I hope people get their hands dirty and are seeing the patients, the teachers who are doing the job every day.
Thank you. I see the key ingredient to working and solving our situation situations, issues, and problems we have within this community is communication. I don't think as a state representative I should be making decisions, but I should be working with the local individuals, the local leaders, and hear the plans that they've created so that I can support them and find the funding that is necessary for the various programs, for the various needs of the community, for the various projects. I consider myself to be a conduit between the individuals that live and reside within the 119th Assembly District, as well as those that are close and outside, because it affects all of us. And work with them, go to Albany, get the resources and bring them back. I would appreciate your consideration on Tuesday, as I am a dedicated community member. I have a strong work ethic, and I will continue that if I so do have the opportunity to serve you in Albany. Thank you again today for your time. I really appreciate this forum and everyone being here.
I think it's important that you know the background of the candidates, who they are, where they come from. I have nobody in my family in politics. My father is a Republican committeeman and he sits on the water board, but that's about it. I'm a fresh face with who I need this. I've come out and said exactly how I plan to solve some of the issues that are going on in our community. My opponent received her job at MVCC for Carl Hastings, who's majority leader, or was majority leader, is the Speaker of the House now in Albany. Her father has been a county legislator for 30 years. Her brother is the head of the Oneida County Church. These people are the epitome of the family and friends plan. If you're happy with the way our local government is and our government in Albany, then she's clearly your choice. There's no question about that. She has the arsenal in her pocket. But if you want something new, something fresh, somebody who's going to work for you, then I'm clearly your candidate, because I don't know anybody anything. I just owe you, the voters. Oh, and my granddaughter, my 21-month-old granddaughter, when she was born, I made her a promise that I would make this the very best community I could. The community I grew up in. To learn the morals and values that I was taught from this community. That's the difference between the two candidates that you heard from today. Thank you.
My friend Tenney, Oneida County Executive. I'd like to point out that this is the 90th consecutive breakfast from Temple Beth-El Men's Club, and I think we should give the men and some of the women helpers from the we are on schedule, we're moving right along, and we will keep that going, so I'm going to call upon Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. We're going to have 6 minutes and then 3 minutes.
Good morning, and thank you so much to this great organization for 90 years. That's a lot of breakfasts. I think I've been here almost every one. And I just want to say, feel like it after how many years it's been, how many years I've been campaigning for 1 year. I just want to first point out a couple things. I know that Chad, who's running, has got a nice little information. I think it's fun that this district that you see, that big long assembly district, that's actually created for me. It was created to get rid of me and prevent me from running for re-election in 2012. It was gerrymandered by the New York State Assembly. And it's just among the many obstacles that I faced to try to challenge the status quo. And the reason that I stood up for the status quo is I'm a small business owner. My family business was started in 1946 by my grandfather. And it's still in this, still going today. I ran with Penny Saver in the Midday Weekly division. And we fought very hard to keep our business going here. We're still going. Unfortunately, we sold our newspaper in 2004. We didn't want to have to sell it, but a lot of our customers were small business owners, quite frankly, and they were struggling to make it, as some of the bigger companies Albany displaced us as Albany's policies were, cost us a lot. We have some of the highest taxes in the nation. We have some of the highest energy costs in the nation. We have some of the highest regulatory burdens in the nation. And I ran basically as a small business owner to try to change the status quo, the failed policies that have led to New York the highest outmigration of people and jobs in the entire nation. That's who we are. And among Oneida County and even some of the other counties that are in the 22nd Assembly or Congressional District, we pay among the highest combined property and sales tax based on the value of our property. So we're losing the value of our property, which is essential to a lot of us, especially those of us who are relying on our property and our homes as one of our most valuable assets. And so I just wanted to challenge and say, why don't we do something about this? We need to lower taxes, we need to do some of those things. So I ran for Assembly, and I continued to try to face incredible odds like that wonderful Assembly district, and there's a lot of other women elected officials in this room right now who fought against incredible odds to be in the positions they're in, and they know who they are. They're dear friends of mine, and both happen to be, or some happen to be Democrats, not Republicans. And so I'm honored to be in this room with them, and I know how hard it's been for them to fight. And our economy is doing really well right now. After 6 years in the Assembly of trying to fight out Sheldon Silver and deal with a lot of the corruption in Albany and the seemingly impossible task of getting any of our policies passed, I got elected in an unusual year in 2016. I'm sitting here as the biggest underdog in the nation in the House of Representatives. I've had more money spent against me than I've had to defend. I had 2 3-way primaries in 2016, or 3-way primary and 3-way general, and I was still able to come out on top. My opponents spent $16 million against me, and I had about 3, a little over 3, around 3, but mostly my own money in the very beginning. And so I was able to win that race, and I'm in an unusual situation. The president also won. No one expected that, including me. But look what's happening right now. Our economy is booming. We finally have tax cuts that are actually working for our small businesses, like mine and all across this region. I've traveled to at least 50 different businesses since the tax cuts were passed. I've heard from hundreds of other businesses in our community, and I think it's really important that I have yet to meet anyone other than certain people that are going to be maybe do commercials for my opponent who aren't happy with the tax cuts, except for some of my wealthiest friends. They aren't happy with it. They don't like the fact that in the end they may end up paying more in taxes. But that was the whole point of this, was try to empower a small business community. And a couple of facts that people should know. 98% of the people that work in this business, in this community, work in a small business where they own it. And that's where we need to grow our jobs. Not $8 billion a year in economic development money that really goes to Governor Cuomo's cronies and friends that has been wasted on a number of projects in our area and across the state. Give that back to our small business community so they can grow. And we've done that on the federal side. And look what's happening. We see a booming economy. We see wages at a 10-year high, according to the Labor Department. We're seeing unemployment at some of its lows. This is really dynamic. Even in our struggling economy here, we're seeing a lot of growth. So those are all good things. And in terms of what I've done as an advocate for this region, I work every day. I love this job. There's things I don't love about it, but I love the idea of representing my community as an underdog, who's someone who stood up for the forgotten men and women in our communities. I wish there are a lot of them. If you do as much door-to-door work as I've done and have had to do over the years, you know who's at those doors. You know who are the groups that are struggling and suffering. And I'm proud to say that I brought back record amount of money to Rome Lab to protect and preserve it. I've been a leader on a number of issues, including preserving and protecting our community development block grants. We provide a lot of services to our cities and also to our local governments. Also, our water infrastructure, we've been putting out records amount of money on that. A record amount of money to our fire departments on community service block grants, which bring our underserved communities together, whether they're students in community action agencies. All this has been going on in the last 2 years, and you probably don't know a thing about it, because quite honestly, I've never seen it in the news myself, only in the releases that we put out. But it's been an extraordinary year. We had the President of the United States in the city of Utica for the first time in 70 years. The city president has visited our area. And whether you like the president's policies or not, this guy is really strong when it comes to Israel. He is the one guy who finally met the promise. Actually took and said, we're going to move our city from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and he did it. And I give him a lot of credit. Oh, it's 2 minutes, okay. Thanks.
We're done for now. You can
Oh.
come back.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing what's coming.
Judge, I feel like I'm in the court of claims with you, so. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank the Temple Beth-El Men's Club for putting on this event for us today. And I want everyone to know we were here this past Monday, joining in solidarity with the Jewish community here in Utica and across the country to really stand up and stand with the Jewish people against those horrific attacks that happened last week in Pittsburgh. So I want you to know that I continue to stand in solidarity with this community, and together we can hopefully fight back some of this hate and violence that's happening in our country. I think many of you know me. My name is Anthony Brindisi. My wife Erica and my daughter Lily are here with us today. You may have seen them in some commercials recently. They're not actors, they're really my children. But this is an honor to come here every year, whether I'm running for office or not, to come talk to everyone about some of the issues that are happening in our community. Most of you know me. I've been in the Assembly for the last 7 years, where I've worked really with both sides of the aisle to try and get things done for our community. And I'm very honored to work with people like Senator Griffo, like our County Executive Anthony Presenti, to really bring more resources here to our region, whether it's for infrastructure, and we're seeing record investments in terms of infrastructure for our area. You can see the arterial project, or what's happening at Griffiths, or the Oriskany Boulevard project, whether it's economic development and working with people like Joe Griffo and the County Executive to bring funding to our area, to renovate the auditorium so we can bring the Utica Commons to our area, working with officials over in Clerk County to secure money for our tractor supply distribution center that's going in over there, which is going to create a lot of good paying jobs. Working with people like Joe to bring more education funding to our area so we can get our due from Albany and make sure that our children here in the Mohawk Valley have the resources they need to be able to be educated in this state. That's something that I've done over my time in the Assembly, but also being someone who's very independent. Never being afraid to stand up against my own party when I think my own party is wrong. And that's something I've very much done. I've taken time during my time in the state assembly to stand up to the governor on issues of economic development and education, but also working with him to try and bring resources to the area. I helped lead the charge to get rid of Sheldon Silver as the Speaker of the Assembly when he was facing corruption charges. And despite all of that, I've been able to take off my partisan hat and work with Democrats and Republicans to really deliver resources for our area. This year I'm running for Congress because I think it's time for some change in Washington. And we really have two competing visions right now of how this country is moving forward. What I see in Washington right now, and as I travel around this congressional district talking to folks at our town hall meetings, many people in this area, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Independent, feel that Washington is just not listening to them. The reason they feel Washington is not listening to them because they feel that Washington is more interested in listening to their special interest donors who are helping fundraise and bankroll their campaigns. And you can see it in some of the votes that are happening down in Washington, and where the priorities really lie with people down in Washington who are representing us. We can look at healthcare. That's one of the big concerns that I hear when I go around this region talking to individuals about their health insurance. We see premiums rising right now. But instead of working together to try and find solutions to fix the Affordable Care Act, we have folks in Washington who want to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which would take millions of people off of their health insurance. It would affect 289,000 people in this congressional district who suffer from pre-existing conditions. It would take away essential health benefits for maternity care, prescription drug coverage, emergency room visits, drug treatment programs. That's not the vision we need in this community in terms of health care. We have to be working together to shore up the Affordable Care Act so we can make sure that health care is affordable and accessible for everyone in this country. We also there are two visions in terms of tax cuts, and I'm someone who supports tax cuts, but the kind of tax cuts that I want to see are the kinds of tax cuts where more money goes into the pockets of people in this community. Not a tax bill where 83% of the benefits go to the wealthiest individuals in this country, millionaires, billionaires, and major Fortune 500 companies who are not using that money to raise the wages of their workers,
who are using that money to buy back shares for their investors so they can increase their profits. That's not helping people in this community. When we have tax cuts, we need to make sure it's going to people in this community who will then spend it in this local community, not Wall Street. In terms of Social Security and Medicare, two important issues. There's one vision, I call it the Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, Larry Kudlow vision of privatizing Medicare and Social Security. And there's my vision, protecting Social Security, protecting Medicare, making sure that they are solvent for this generation and future generations. Those are not entitlement programs. Those are earned benefits that should be there for everybody. The list goes on and on. Money in politics, the environment, civility and decency in our country. There are two different visions that we have in this campaign and two choices that you're able to make on November 6th. We don't need representatives who are going to make sure that they are fanning those flames of division down in Washington. We need representatives who are down there trying to work together to get things done for this community. That's what we need. I'm very proud to have the endorsement of both our former Republican members of Congress, Richard Hannon and Sherry Bowler, because they are two individuals.
Policies of the past that left us is 2% or less than 2% growth. He obviously hasn't met with the small business community and individuals that are forced to go on to Obamacare, like my business and so many others that are seeing double-digit increases in healthcare, where we're trying to provide solutions. He's continuing to perpetuate, and I'm sorry, I've just got to put it bluntly, the same lie over and over. I actually co-sponsored the legislation that would protect pre-existing conditions and actually make it affordable, so people like everyone in this room who isn't dependent on government and doesn't have a government job can actually get health care. His only solution for this is to vote 4 times for government takeover of health care in New York, which means not only would 289,000 people that he alleges lose health care, all of you would lose your health care, and you would go on to a single payer plan that would cost the state of New York, at minimum, $92 billion a year in new taxes. And I'm sorry that any of the Republicans in the room think that that's a palatable solution. It's not, because on the national level, it's $32 trillion in new taxes on an annual basis imposed against the United States. And these tax cuts, again, we're both lawyers, but that was a slick lawyer argument. 83%, that's only after 10 years if the tax cuts expire. But if only the Democrats would work with us and making these permanent, and finally we did get 3 Democrats to reach across the aisle and finally vote to make the tax cuts permanent last time. 3 of them in very tough, challenging seats that are currently held by Republicans, of course. And another thing on bipartisanship, my freshman class did something very unusual. We signed a commitment to civility. We actually did it on February 14th, and all of us wear bands, all of us that signed up, all Republicans and Democrats except 3 Democrats. Every single bill that I put out, and I'd like to inform the former congressman, is bipartisan. I have 5 bills that have now been passed and made into law, all bipartisan, every bill that I have. And I think a funny aside is I went to NPR for my interview, and the reporter said, geez, we tried to talk to all of your colleagues and ask them how they liked you, all your Democratic friends. And we were amazed to find out that they love working with you. They think you're a tremendous person. You're working very hard in a bipartisan way with all of us. So that's coming from NPR, which is obviously not a Republican organization, but also from my colleagues on the Financial Services Committee, which is a very important committee that I serve on. And there are scarier things than Nancy Pelosi out there. Maxine Waters could become the chairman of Financial Services Committee. And if you think that's a good thing, she doesn't even live in her own district, and she's running for office. So yeah, I work in a very bipartisan way, but I also have to stand up and advocate for our community. I know and I live the struggling lives that a lot of our small business community lives, and we need to make our community better, and we're finally seeing some progress, and I hope that we'll continue to move forward with that. And in terms of money, my opponent has had literally millions of dollars spent. He says he's not taking money from PACs. He is running on a super PAC. You know, House Majority PAC, DCCC are all super PACs.
At least 5 people will vote for it.
Well, thank you very much. Closing off here, I want to thank you all. I know we have a very important election ahead of us on Tuesday, and wherever you stand, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, please go out and vote for either candidate because it's our most important civic duty. But I do want to say a few things about where we stand in this community and where we need to move forward as I see things. We need to make sure that we have a representative, because I was talking before about our previous members of Congress, people who I feel that have really worked well with both sides, trying to bring people together, working on issues that are important for folks here in the community, not being afraid to stand up to their party when they think their own party is wrong. And that's what we really need more of in Washington right now. You know, John F. Kennedy once said that let's not search for the Democratic answer or the Republican answer, let's search for the right answer. And despite some of the scare tactics that you might hear on the TV commercials out there, because I have a lot of money being spent against me as well by the big super PACs on the other side, and despite those scare tactics, I can assure you that the one thing I will always do is I will always do my best to represent the community. I will always show up and listen to this community, and I don't care what the party says. What I care is what the people in this area say, because you are the folks who put me in office. That's who I care about, and that's who deserves to have a voice down in Washington. People are scared in this community. They're scared about their health care. They're scared about their jobs. They're scared about immigration. They're scared about gun violence. They're scared about the environment. And we need to bring folks back together again and start working in this in Washington. That's something I've always done in the state assembly, trying to bring Democrats and Republicans together. I've always been independent and never been afraid to stand up to my own party. We need that mentality again down in Washington. We can do it on November 6th, and I'm humbly asking for your support. Thank you very much.
All of the candidates for abiding by our time restrictions. We're 1 hour and we're done, and I think that we've heard a lot from a lot of the candidates. I think it's important that we actually hear from the candidates rather than those stilted, stupid ads that we've seen on TV for all of them. They're all here in living color, and they're all telling you what they believe, and I think it's up to you to determine the credibility of each candidate and to get out on Tuesday. I think anybody who doesn't get out and vote on Tuesday has the absolute obligation of keeping their mouth shut. If you don't participate in the process and you don't cast your vote, you've given up your right to complain as far as I'm concerned. So get out and vote. I don't really care who you vote for, but get out and vote. Make sure that your voice is heard, and then you can complain and complain and complain all you want about the results, but do it civilly, because unless we maintain civility and collegiality, our country is doomed. Unless we understand that I can sit down with a friend on the other side and argue, and then hug on the afterwards and walk out of the room, we're not going anywhere. So respect everybody's opinion. You can disagree with anybody's opinion you want, but respect the fact that they do have the right to have an opinion. Their opinion might have some merit. It does a lot of good to try to listen to somebody else, and always, always be treated as you would want to treat someone else. Do not get into the gutter, and treat everybody with respect. Have a good day. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're right.
Save the butter? Is that a new campaign? Save the butter. Sorry.